Last week, we told you about a potential Chinese plot to influence the 2020 presidential election. FBI Director Kash Patel has declassified documents that allege Chinese efforts to ship fake driver's licenses to the United States to let Chinese sympathizers cast fraudulent mail-in ballots for Joe Biden. Now, there's a new twist. Daily Mail reporting Director Patel uncovered proof showing former FBI Director Christopher Wray buried that report because it contradicted his testimony to Congress that China was not conducting foreign influence campaign in United States elections, saying in September 2020, quote, "We have not seen historically any kind of coordinated national voter fraud effort in a major election, whether it's by mail or otherwise." Joining me now is FBI whistleblower Steve Friend. Steve, thanks for being with us here today. Before we get to Director Wray, let's talk a little bit, if we might, about this report. It came out of the Albany, New York office. It's called an IRR, an Internal Intelligence Report. Now, this IRR produced by the Albany field office apparently was recalled. It was pushed down by Director Wray. Tell me a little bit about what goes into an IRR and what would be necessary. How would you go about clawing it back to make sure it never sees the light of day?
Well, it's pretty unique from my perspective, and certainly in any time in recent history that I can recall any sort of intelligence product being clawed back by leadership within the FBI. Christopher Wray specifically was the radical traditional Catholic memo, and that was only clawed back when Congress exposed it because a whistleblower came forward with it. But the typical way that these documents are authored would be an intelligence analyst essentially researches their product, goes back and forth with the supervisor, and effectively gets their approval to push it on, and then that information is laundered into what the FBI concocts as far as what's going to be its priorities. I've never heard, outside of the radical traditional Catholic memo, in recent memory or recent history, of any sort of product being pulled back so that they could go and re-interview a source and expectedly that they were going to get different information from that individual.
Okay, the allegation, according to Patel, is that the reason now that it was pulled back, clawed back, is because it would have embarrassed, at a minimum, embarrassed Wray, perhaps subjected him to perjury in front of Congress when he testified that there was no foreign interference in American elections. And here we have an intelligence report from the FBI suggesting the exact opposite. Patel put this on X. Former FBI leadership withheld the facts and misled the public on China's 2020 election interference, and they did so for political gain. This FBI is exposing all of it and giving Americans the truth they deserve. This is sounds, Steve, absolutely scandalous.
This is unequivocally the worst election interference on behalf of the FBI, and that's taking all things into consideration: the Steele dossier, the James Comey honeypot off the books scheme that was run, the censorship of Hunter Biden's laptop, which was in FBI evidence, because all of those efforts were to keep information from the American people or influence them to vote for a particular person. But here's an actual incidence of a foreign nation state who has close ties to the Joe Biden family, who is trying and attempting to stuff ballots into ballot boxes. And the FBI had that information at their fingertips and pulled it back to avoid any sort of transparency.
And lied to Congress. Incredible story that deserves further attention and investigation. Steve Friend, great conversation. Thank you so much.